Matter of fact, I'm gonna play a clip. That's the clip I'm gonna play. Mic check one.
Peace, friend. This is Baba Amin. Do you need your high school diploma, but don't have the time, resources, or the patience to study for and pass the GED? What if you could earn your high school diploma while working on a plan for your success with a coach at the same time? If you would invest in a program like that, then hit the link below and enroll in Operation Reconnect today. I've been an educator for over 30 years. And in that time, I've seen countless high school graduates that end up underemployed, unemployed, or miserably employed because they walked out of school with a diploma, but didn't walk out with a plan. That's why 10 years ago, I founded Operation Reconnect. And since then, we've graduated hundreds of people just like you who have gone on to achieve heights that they never thought possible. Just because the school system failed you doesn't mean you have to fail yourself. Don't give up. You have options. Enroll in Operation Reconnect today, and I'll see you at the top. Peace.
Here we go again, telling black youth to stop the violence. But when are we going to stop the violence against black youth? This country enslaved black youth for 300 years, Jim Crow black youth for 100 years after that, crack cocaine and mass incarcerated black youth throughout the 80s and 90s, and decided it was okay for police and the neighborhood watch to murder them in the 2000s. Black youth are the most unappreciated group in America because while all of that was going on, black youth fought in the Civil War, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Black youth led the Civil Rights Movement, Black Power Movement, the Million Man March, and Black Lives Matter. Black youth created the blues, jazz, rock, R&B, gospel, soul, and hip-hop. Where would the NCAA, NBA, MLB, and NFL be without black youth? Incarcerating black youth is so profitable that if they stopped going to jail, it would cripple the economy. Because even when black youth fail, somebody makes some money. I hate to see black youth killing each other, but powerful people go out of their way to make sure we can't teach them why they shouldn't kill each other. See, violence ain't black culture. Violence is American culture. Stop the violence against black youth. Bob, I mean, it's been a minute.
The Uhuru Academy overall is an amazing school from the teacher to the students. It's a place where kids can build their confidence and learn how to write, read, type, all of that good stuff. We learn our history here. We honor our ancestors, so we learn about who we are and where we come from, and I really enjoy this about this school. And like everybody's pretty much saying, it's a safe space, and we can always be able to feel like we can open up to our classmates and our teachers. So that's what I love.
I love the environment and that they promote not being afraid to ask for help.
Something positive about the Uhuru Academy is this is a safe space, and you can be able to say whatever you want to say without being embarrassed. Just like how Amani said, I've been able to sometimes I can be shy talking around people, but y'all have taught me not to be shy and everything. This is a very good school. The part that I love about this is when we do ancestor reverence and African history.
I think this is the greatest school I've ever went to because you teach me about my history, and at the other schools they never taught me one thing about my history. They just taught the only black people they talked about at my other schools were like Carter G. Woodson, Martin Luther King, and I think that's it. So you guys helped me learn my true history.
Yeah, It's still a lot of debate about who we are. Cats arguing, we ain't African, we ain't black, we ain't this, we ain't that. Man, truth is, we all of that. Because all of that come from us, you know what I'm saying? It's all about where you gonna fit in. Yeah. Yo, what's your name? You an African, an American, or an Israelite? Black or more, Muhammad, or a provocateur, what the business like? You Malcolm X, my enemy. Chief Turner, Dr. King, keep a burner, you repeat. Look at me, who you see, I'm Garvey. When I rap a bar, every line is a blacker star. I'm masterful cause I understand who these crackers are. Nat Turner's my avatar, my attitude so desolate. I'm a mocking dog, these motherfuckers. Dr. Copy, these Europeans know what I mean. I'm Farrakhan, never will I run. Robert Williams, nigga with a gun. George and Jonathan Jackson, Dr. Joseph Ben, Dr. Nam, show and prove like Dr. Clark. I'm a boom cause I got the heart. I'm Dubois cause I'm hella smart. I'm Denzel cause I got the part. I'm Bianchi, Sutton Kufu, Mansa Musa, Shaka Zulu. I'm with Mia, I'm with Tulu. If I was Jesus, what would you do? I'm a nigga and I'm colored. I'm your nigga and your brother. Yeah, I kill you, but I love you. Accept your own and reject the what's your name?
What's your name? And why don't you now know what your name was then? Where did it go? Where did you lose it? Who took it? And how did he get it? What song did you speak? How did the man take your love? Where is your history? How did the man wipe out your history? What did the man do to make you a dog?
What's your name? It's the Chigaboo, it's the Porsche Monkey, it's the Sambo, it's the Yo-Yo, maybe Revolution is just too much for the handle. I ain't carry no scandal. I ain't scary, got ammo. Harry Tubman with a candle. Time to pick up the mantle. I'm a son to Wop and Queen of Zinga. Nefertiti and Queen of Mina. Hashtasset and the Queen of Sheba. She thinks she God, please believe her. Name is Osada, great escape. Angela Davis, peace safe. William Mandela, refuse to break. I'm anime, refuse to hate. I see straight through cause the lady day. Miss Fanny Lou, I got things to say. Miss Shirley Chisholm, I paved the way. The homie queen came to slay. Better Shabazz, I mean my Malcolm. Black love is the only outcome. I won't stop until y'all have some. I'm myself, this shit gon' happen. I'm on shoot, come bless the altar. I'm Nibia, I bless Walter. I'm Olakuna, I got my daughter. I'm Oya, I cannot falter. I'm the one to give birth to stars. Masterful, how I work these bars. Series B to the earth to Mars. KOS, reverse the stars. Show now.
What's your name? And why don't you now know what your name was then? Where did it go? Where did you lose it? Who took it? And how did he get it? What song did you speak? How did the man take your love? Where is your history? How did the man wipe out your history? What did the man do to make you a dog? As you are right now.
All right.
What did the man do to make you as dumb as you are right now? You know what I'm saying? What happened? You know what I'm saying? What's your name? Bob, I mean, Mom and Koyo in the house. You know what I'm saying? And y'all, welcome to the Fight the Algorithm podcast. I am your host, Baba. I mean, Oji Woke. I'm here with my comrade in arms.
Man, I'm Dr. Juichi Bo Money, man. Pipeline of power. Listen, this is a phenomenal, a powerful, a meaningful, oh man, a critical topic we digging into tonight, brother. I'm just saying,
absolutely. You know what I'm saying? We fight the algorithm, man. We come in and we talk about topics, man. We basically, the algorithm we talking about is the mentality that we under. Right? Whether you want to call that Western mentality, whether you want to call it that slave mentality, you know what I'm saying? That individualistic mentality, that self-destructive mentality, the algorithm, that box, those boxes that we often put ourselves in, you know, that we need to fight if we're going to change anything in our community. You know what I'm saying? So that's what Fight the Algorithm's all about. Every week, we're going to talk about how we fight the algorithm. We're going to highlight Black folks who are fighting the algorithm. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, it's a discussion, and it's a serious discussion to start off your week. You know what I'm saying? So you can look in the mirror and say, hold up. Did I fight the algorithm today? Did I write my own algorithm today? You know what I'm saying? And today's topic is really cool because a movie just came out recently on Netflix called They Cloned Tyrone, right? And it's almost like Yeah, I didn't know that movie was coming out when we came up with this podcast. You know what I'm saying? But it's like the topic of that movie and the topic of our podcast each and every week go hand in hand, right? Go hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? So tonight we're going to talk. This is part one that where we're going to kind of talk. We're going to talk about the movie They Cloned Tyrone, right? Right. But we're also going to talk about a certain aspect of the mentality that we're under, right? That's probably the main thing blocking us from taking things to the next level, building and sustaining. You know what I'm saying? And that's fear.
Fear, man.
Right? That's fear. How fear, right? How fear inhibits us from fighting the algorithm.
Yeah, no,
what I'm saying?
The concept of fear and how, you know, even when we recognize what it is that we do or don't recognize, because even fear, man, it got so many elements. It oftentimes hinders us from recognizing the things that we need to be putting time, energy, effort into. But even when you do recognize, you see it, we still hesitant. And we still, you know what I'm saying, we figure out ways not to do things that we know will grow us, will build us, will prove that we love ourselves, love our families, love our people. It will prove it in action, but we still don't take full, you know what I'm saying, effort to you know, to follow through on those efforts that we know, you know, in our mind, in our spirit, that this is what we need to be doing. We gotta really face this. I think, and like we was talking about earlier, none of us are immune to this. None of us are immune to these situations. And when we come to moments in life, even when we feel like we may be right there at the cusp of our breakthrough, our come up, we still, you know, scared to take that step. We hesitant.
It has to do it, you know, and you know, this movie, you know, They Cloned Tyrone, right? In this movie, it's basically the whole premise, right, is about a community that's just locked into a certain behavior. And you got this brother played by John Boyega who's trapped in a time loop, right? Where he's out doing his thing, he gets killed, then he wakes back up in his bed like, hold up. I know I got shot last night. You know what I'm saying? And he goes about living, and then Jamie Foxx's character sees him and say, "Hey man, you dead, bro. I saw you get shot. You know, I saw how you doing back here." You know what I'm saying? And so this big controversy, this big conspiracy starts brewing, and come to find out that everyone in that neighborhood is cloned. Right? Everyone in that neighborhood is cloned. That neighborhood is one big lab experiment. One big lab experiment, and it being impacted not just by the physical cloning, but the food. You know, the white scientists are putting things in the chicken that make them laugh. They put stuff in the Kool-Aid that make them obedient. They put stuff in the hair relaxer that make them like, oh, not think, not be serious about anything. You know what I'm saying? So the symbolism in the movie is amazing because, you know, they did it, you know, it's obvious to symbolize and parallel some of the self-destructive mentality and behavior that's pervasive in our community today. You know what I'm saying? And in that discovery of what's going on, you see the fear in the eyes of the main characters, and in that fear, you see them struggling with the decision, particularly John Boyega's character with the decision: do I pretend like everything is okay, or do I act upon this? Are we gonna go act the man, or should I just ride this thing out and pretend like ain't nothing wrong? And that's a decision that, as Black people, we've been having to make that decision since slavery.
Absolutely.
In America.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's a very unique decision, and it's not a fear that you disrespect. It's a respectful fear, in my opinion, because if I'm on me and you on a plantation and they open up the gate, ain't nobody watching the gate. We run to the gate. When we get to that gate, we thinking about freedom as we run to the gate. But then when you get to the gate, you realize, oh shit, I'm about to be outside the gate. That I ain't never been outside of my whole life.
Yes. Absolutely. So now you start to contextualize a fear of the unknown, right?
Right.
That you've never experienced before and only heard about. What you heard about what's on the other side may be a negative context, right? You might have heard about what happened to Big John that ran last week, right? That went out on his own, and you heard the dogs barking when he ran out there, right? You heard the gunshots,
right,
like 10, 20 miles down in the woods. You heard gunshots, you heard the dogs barking, you heard people cussing. And next thing you know, you don't know what happened to Big John.
You don't know what happened. Did he make it? Did he kill Big John? You know, now maybe if they bring him back,
if
they bring Big John back, and you see Big John in shackles and whipped and punished for running. What does that do to you? That paralyzes you from what? Trying to do the same thing.
Right? Trying to do the same thing.
Right. And so bring that fast forward that to 2023. You know, there's a legitimate fear of the unknown. You know, for those of us who are locked into certain behaviors.
Yes.
You know, I behave a certain way to survive in my environment. Yet I come to the school, you telling me to behave a different way that ain't conducive to how I survive in my environment. It makes sense for me to do that. But if I go home acting like this, they're gonna take advantage of me.
Yep, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And so that fear of the unknown, that's a major one. That's not the only thing we fear when it's time to fight our algorithm, but fearing what's on the other side.
Yeah.
Starting your own business.
Yeah. Yes, man, huge one. It's particularly when you come from a from a family, or you come from a context that is not prevalent in entrepreneurship, where people are actually doing business as a lifestyle, as something that you are a part of the cultural context of business building and all of the functions and operating at all time. You're not used to seeing that, you're not engaged in it, but you step into it, man. The fear of the unknown, it grabs you because
it's powerful, man. I remember I took some young people out of the neighborhood on a tour of the South. We was gonna protest NASCAR. I took them on a little tour of the South, and it's me. And shout out to my partner Kushan. We had 2 15-passenger vans full of young people from the hood. A lot of them hadn't been further than Dallas their whole life.
Yeah.
And I remember getting beyond Dallas, and one of the young fella, tough kid too. I thought he was tough. We got beyond that. He was like, "Hey man, you take me home."
For the
I'm like, what you want to go home for? Oh man, I ain't never been out this far.
Yeah.
Man, take me home. I don't know what's gonna happen to us out here. Take me. I'm ready to go back to the hood, fool. Take me back to my block, fool. Take me back. And I'm like, nah, man, it's too late, bro. You have to ride this out. It's gonna be okay. But now, if you caught him on his block, oh, he ain't scared enough.
He the toughest thing since, you know what I'm saying?
We got outside them. We got to where he saw buildings he didn't recognize and cars passing by full of different colored people and all. He's like, no, take me home. And I'm like, no, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna do that. And I think that's something that the movie deals with, as well. What next? After you do wake up, what do you do next?
Yeah.
After you realize something's going on, what do you do? Do you fight? Do you pretend like ain't nothing going on? What do you do? And right now today, we got a lot of people pretending like they don't know. They really know.
They really do know. Yeah, absolutely. No, and one of the things that came to mind is that one of the hardest things about it is that, and especially for that example you gave, is that the context of being tough, and this is big in movies like this, in our communities that where we engage youth, that they tough in the environment, and it's reinforced that this character, right, the clone, right, the character is what tough is. Like that's the definition of tough. Like that's the definition of gangster. That's the definition of thug. You know what I'm saying? And it's glorified. So anything outside of it, it becomes something that I don't understand. Right?
Yeah.
I don't understand anything outside of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I even remember when we used to have temple, and we had different type of black power folk from every ilk coming to temple, and people instinctively look for the people that look like them, dress like them. I had people come to me, I don't like that dude, Bob. Well, why you don't like him? I just don't like how he look. What, he got on slacks?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, that's a real dude right there. How you know he real? Because he got on the jersey.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of it is, I tell him, it's not that you don't. It's not that you don't like him. You're afraid of him because you don't know anybody like that.
Yeah.
That's a fear, and that's just a fear of the unknown. Get to know that person, and let's see, you know what I'm saying, what's going on beyond that, you know. And another thing we get from the movie, and we just kind of summarize, we're gonna go more in depth and talk about certain scenes and stuff, you know what I'm saying, next week. But another thing is the symbolism of the cloning. Like when I saw cloning, when I looked at it, I say that meant the mentalities are cloned. Talking about in real life.
Yes, absolutely. The characters.
These characters are cloned in real life. I know of him. You know what I'm saying? Like you and I, we've traveled the country. You know what I'm saying? And we've worked in black communities across the country. We go to the hood. We find the hood wherever we go.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Right. And so we know firsthand that we operating with a blueprint.
Yes.
Because there are certain elements we find in every working class black community that we visit.
Yep, absolutely. It looks the same. You know, the way the infrastructure of black communities has the same components. It has your liquor store, just like in this movie. It has liquor stores. It has convenience stores. It has your, you know, the people that own those stores. You know what I'm saying? From the Middle Easterners to the nail shop, all these different aspects that make up, you know, the food, the concept of a food desert. You know, with food insecurity, all of those things. If you go to, you know, you go to New York, you go to Florida, South Carolina, you know, you go even going west to LA and, you know, all these other places, you find these same components, right? Yes. Which thus with that formula, you know, the schools are teaching similar construct, you know what I'm saying?
The church.
With that formula, the people that are produced through that, you know, through the equation, build similar mindsets.
Similar mindsets. like you see the factory right there.
Yeah, you see the factory and how it's manufactured. You see
how it's manufactured. The church is on the corner. You know what I'm saying? They pumping the same message. The food, like I say, food insecurity, but what is there? You know what I'm saying? What type of food is there? The fried chicken is there. The fast food, the processed food is there. You know what I'm saying? All that, right? And so, and then you look at the finished product, the people, you see, like you say, similar outcomes. Who cloned Tyrone?
Yep.
Right?
It's interesting, man.
It is. It's very interesting, and it's very true, right? And so what we have to ask ourselves, how do we fight that algorithm?
Yeah. How do we fight?
How do we take over that algorithm? How do we rewrite the programming? How do we hijack the factory that is the black community and turn it into something that's producing more productivity? What I don't want to do, I don't want to boo-boo on the people in the hood, because that's not what I'm saying.
Oh, absolutely not. No,
right?
absolutely not.
We fight all of that.
Yes, we come from the same place.
Right. We come from that, right?
Right. You know, we are
right. So I just want to make sure we don't frame it like we're saying that we the problem, or you know what I'm saying, or anything like that. But at the same time, we can't deny that there are self-destructive mentalities that reproduce themselves in black communities all over the country. Right? Absolutely. It's garbage in, garbage out. I know beautiful people with beautiful spirits who do horrible things and do disrespectful things, self-destructive things that people who know better but just can't bring themselves quite to do better because they still wake up every day in the factory.
That's right. So for me, you know, I always look at it as, you know, from this concept of when a child is born, when our children are born, right? They clean slate, right? When they're born, when they conceive, I go conceive because, you know, that type of programming and things can happen even in the womb, right? But, you know, from conception, we have that clean slate. So in order for us to diagnose or assess or analyze how we continue to, you know, these characters continue to be created, we got to go back to, okay, what's happening from conception? Because that the conception, the seed is not cloned, or you know, from the concept of the way we talking about it, right? From a programming standpoint. So what is happening between conception and, you know, this point of where we out in the world, we continue and we use terms like generational cycles when we get engaged in various destructive activities. What happens before we get into those spaces and places where self-destructive activity manifests? Right? What are the inputs? What are the messages and the images? Who are the progenitors? Who are the places that we go to, right? That we are exposed to that infiltrate our minds, bodies, and spirits with these inputs, with these algorithms, with these codes, right? That then produce the clone, right? That's the question that we got to ask ourselves. What is happening? What in between?
And we ain't negating the fact that at the end of the day, everyone makes a choice. Everyone makes a decision. Right. But if you have a menu in front of you, you know what I'm saying? You can only select from the menu that you see. Right. Yeah. Also, I may go to a restaurant and have an idea that I want one thing. But if it's been marketed, if I'm coming based on commercials that I saw, when I get there, I just want the popular meal. Right. And so, like when we work with young people, they come in and a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot want the popular meal. That means that whatever's popular, that's what they want to be. So I want to be a thug if that's what's popular. I want to be a bad bee if that's what's popular. That's my default, because this is the commercial that I see. When I look on TV, I see the thug. When I look at the movies, I see the bad bee. The people that seem to be black and rich, they're athletes or they're entertainers. So when I walk in school, wherever I go, I'm already emulating what it is I think I want to be, because this is the Big Mac that's on all the billboards. And now you got to show me that there are other things on the menu. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. So the way I think about that, and I think about this, and this is another concept we do have to delve a little deep into, is the concept of choice, right? So for me, and when I'm talking about this from conception, if let's say you have twins, right? From conception, you have twins. One twin goes to a family that has this understanding of the way we're trying to counter. They have the counter narratives for the cloning, the character, the self-destructive activity. But the other twin goes into these environments, these hood environments, what that we're looking at, that we're talking about, our communities that have been denigrated from what they, the original aspects of it, right? They both go to these different spaces. Well, at that point, that it's not about choice, because they didn't choose to go to these different environments. So at what point do we say, okay, this is really about, the environment that shaped the psychology in which a decision has to be made from? If something outside of my well-being shaped my psychology, then every decision that comes from that foreign entity or that negative manipulation of my psychology is to be pointed to for those choices, right? Until I gain consciousness of it, right?
Right.
Yeah, so
when I gain consciousness of it, right? That's when the fear sets in.
Hello, and that's what really makes it deep.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And that's what that awareness, man. Like a year ago, about a year, 2 years ago, people started talking, like being woke was bad. Like being conscious is bad. You even got that now. I ain't woke, y'all. Hoteps and being woke, and now he think he woke and all that. And all of a sudden, woke became a high side. Woke became an insult, right? It basically says stay sleep. You know what I'm saying? And whenever I would see people who I knew were woke. Right. When the tide got turning, it was unpopular to be woke. I saw a whole bunch of people start switching up. I ain't woke. I don't consider myself conscious. Well, we was in study group together.
For real. We was
extreme black power.
You had RBG family.
Yeah. When you get RBG, we had 5 years in a row. All of a sudden, you ain't woke. All of a sudden,
you was on the stage and everything.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And and I'm like, oh, you scared to be woke right now because it's not popular.
You gotta say that again. You are afraid to be woke because now it's been demonized.
It's been demonized.
Negative, right?
Yeah. So maybe you fear the consequences. You don't want to be teased. And I'm talking about adults.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You don't want to be teased because you said hotep. We say hotep to each other all the time. Now all of a sudden you calling people hoteps, high side. But last time I saw you say hotep, Baba.
Mm.
Right? it's it's so having that conviction to maintain, you know what I'm saying, who you are, stand on your principles, stand on your values, even when the algorithm shifts on you.
It shifts. And this is deep, because this is the same aspect when we look at history, even looking at a concept like Black Power, right?
Right.
So when the concept of Black Power first came out, it was something that Black Power, you could feel it. It was in your spirit, Black Power, and everybody was throwing up the fist with Black Power. So the fist meant Black Power. You was declaring Black Power. You was declaring the empowerment of Black people, right? To grow, to develop, to become, but as the narrative, the algorithm start to shift against this notion of Black Power, right? Then everybody start to change the language as it relates to declaring it, right? Black Power means, that means you equate that. That means you the same as the Klan. I remember seeing a post.
They individualize it too when it gets dead. Well, my Black Power,
my Black Power is that.
My Black Power is going to work every day and eat my cheese sandwich at lunch. That's my Black Power. What's your Black Power?
Yeah, Black Power don't mean that we hate white people. It's just so that's it's really about so
that's born out of fear.
Out of fear, when you got to start explaining something that's natural. So for me, and this is just like the woke concept, right? So really what this comes back to, and what I'm seeing is that this is a notion of when you got to clone somebody. When you clone somebody, that means they start to lack the ability to think critically, right?
Right.
Because if somebody say, "Oh, you woke," well, if woke is bad, then you saying the opposite is good. So you want me to be sleep. You want me to be unaware. You want me to be asleep at the wheel. Right, you want me to be in a position to where I'm vulnerable. You want to be able to sneak behind me to hurt my children, right? So, but you have to be able to critically think to use that counter narrative to even analyze the concept itself, right? So when we talk about Black Power, well, if Black Power is bad, then you're asking me to subscribe to Black weakness, right?
Right.
Oh, so you want me to be weak? You want my people to be weak. You want my children to be weak. You want them to be have the inability to think for themselves, to be strong-minded. So you want them to be something that's less than, and don't have the ability to build their own, communities. So all these concepts we have to analyze when you are looking at narratives that answer our natural ability to become everything that we were created to become.
And bringing that concept into what we're looking at today, you have to ask who benefits from these clone mentalities, right? Who benefits? And you got to go beyond the crayon box, right?
Yeah.
And look at capitalism and look at who benefits from Black failure, because it's been monetized.
Yeah.
Right? Tyrone or the drug dealer has been monetized.
Yeah.
The prison system, look at the drug laws, right? Through the prison system, the poverty cycle. Yeah, nothing like a good drug dealer to keep a community impoverished. You understand what I'm saying? So that's been monetized. The unhealthy food, that's been monetized.
Clearly.
Right. The corner store is the average corner store in the hood is pulling in around $500,000 a year.
Yep.
$500,000 a year. That is a very lucrative business to be in. We ain't gonna even get into the hair business.
Man, come on. Pharmaceutical industry.
The pharmaceutical industry. Clean it up. Right? So it's been, in hell, the food we eat are pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The high fructose corn syrup and you know what I'm saying? And so then you talk about healthcare. Right? And you got people going in with their Medicaid and all that. Your doctors, they swiping them cards from the government, but the government is breaking them off real money off the card that you're swiping. Poverty is big business.
Yes.
Poverty is big business in America. Yeah.
I would argue that you don't have an economic system the way it is in this country without this notion of poverty. Right, without that, and I'm not just talking about I don't have money. I'm talking about the mentality that we talking about. Like I got to believe that I lack in order to become dependent on your industry.
Right. Right. And I have to believe that I have something when I have nothing.
Wow. Yeah.
I have to believe that I actually got something when I got nothing. So I got this $1,000. I'm gonna put it down my arm and take a picture.
Yep.
And say, I'm getting this money. I gotta believe that I have something, but in the context of anything outside your block, you really ain't got much of nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And so we begin to fight over nothing.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So it's
like
we fight over a social status, right?
Right.
As opposed to an actual valuable
asset.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like me and you we get into it over neighborhoods that neither one of us own property in.
Yeah. Yeah, which is deep, because this concept of gentrification, the brothers and sisters who were fighting over a territory in a lot of these same major cities that we've been to and seen the community fighting over territory in these cities in the 80s, 90s, into the 2000s, were the same families that were shipped out of those territories that you were killing over to outside areas of the city.
Yeah.
For business coming in to redevelop and restructure the entire community, right?
What it must feel like to realize that the neighborhood you love, you have no stake in whatsoever.
Yeah,
you there all your life, and all of a sudden your city gentrifies, and you have to move at no choice of your own.
Yeah,
you can't stay.
Yeah,
we knocking these down, and you only can go where the housing voucher takes you.
Yeah. And this is the deeper part. You can't use the same coercive force that you used when it was black on black. When it was, you know what I'm saying? When it was you can't even use that force because they already
know who to call.
Counter it.
Yeah, right. You don't even know who to call. And if you find out their number, they ain't gonna even answer your call.
Yeah, you don't know what process to use, right? The paperwork that came to your door. You don't understand the language, the terminology, or how to respond in a way that would cause anybody to do anything, right? Mm-hmm. But we were the toughest, right? Mentally, right? What we valued as tough, what was characterized as you the hardest one.
And a lot of us during that process, we have enough money coming through our hands to buy property in the neighborhood.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's not on the menu.
Yep.
That's not the mentality. That's not in the programming, right? And so who cloned Tyrone, right? Yep. And now you got to move to another community. I be wanting to ask sometimes, if you on the south side, but then they gentrify you, and then they move you to the northeast in another hood, are you still south side?
Yeah. And why you
northeast? How long? Right. Like, what is that transition like mentally?
That's deep, man.
What is that transition like mentally when your world is upended, when you find out the definitions that you've been walking around with ain't true? And that's what that movie symbolized. When he saw that he was cloned, everything he thought was real wasn't real no more.
Yeah.
Everything that he thought mattered didn't matter anymore, simply because he saw a bigger picture.
Yeah. Wow.
Right.
So the concept.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that. So I'm thinking about the way you're speaking about the concept of cloning is that, you don't realize that you are under someone else's control. When you're a clone, you don't even realize it. And I think that was a biggest part of the movie that people didn't even understand. It was being that they were operating as a character being controlled just like a puppet.
Yeah.
You didn't know it. You thought you was cold and chilling. Oh, we're gonna go to the club. All this. All the things that you think is cool and valuable, but no, you're really operating as a clone, benefiting somebody, that would never allow you to pass anything down to your generation that would be, that would be impactful in a positive way.
Man, they had one scene in the restaurant where everybody just started laughing. They eating the chicken.
Yeah.
White folks done put it in the food, so they eating the chicken. All of a sudden, everybody just started laughing uncontrollably. But wasn't nothing really funny. And I'm saying, and I started thinking about us culturally, as a people, and the emotional imbalance that comes from the foods that we eat.
Yes.
That stems from the foods that we eat. You know what I'm saying? And how sometimes we do laugh when ain't nothing funny.
Yeah.
Sometimes we laugh to keep from crying. You
Yes.
know, what I'm saying? Sometimes we laugh to be included.
Yes.
You know, and we don't know why we laughing. We ain't even thinking about it. We just laughing because some of this shit that's going on out here, boy, man, ain't funny.
Yeah, no, I man, I love that because I've been really thinking about this. Is that anytime, and I thought about my own, you know, critical reflecting on my own life and things that have happened over the years, and I'm thinking about the concept of the things that we get moved by emotionally, whether it be what we get angry about, you know, we react to, you know, things that make us happy, you know, really. You know, like you said, just laughing. What we laugh, you know, you laughing, you know, and you know, things that make you sad, you crying, you know.
Right.
But is it we ask ourselves, was that really how we felt, or was it based on how we are, you know, how we've been treating our minds, our bodies, you know what I'm saying, in a way, are we off balance in a way that, dang, the only thing that my mood can resort to is anger, and which often results to violence, especially if people are unhealthy in you know, in collective ways, you know, and if you're alone, you violent to yourself, you know what I'm saying? How much does that have to do with these inputs that we're talking about? You know, that we put into our bodies, from the food to the messages and images, you know, all this stuff. Because the way I think about it is that it's an accumulation of negative inputs, right? So if I'm eating unhealthy, and I'm also feeding my mind, you know, I'm listening what's coming through my ears, what's coming through my eyes, I'm eating it, I'm drinking it, I'm, you know, other people that I'm around are multiplying the influence of it, right? All of that accumulation of negativity into my mind, body, and spirit is going to result in something coming out. What goes in, you know, comes out, right? And this is kind of what we are seeing in our communities, right? And oftentimes we're like, man, well, why we can't, we're gonna have to really dissect, right? All of these different aspects.
When it went underground, you saw all the clones in the tubes being fed. Being fed images, fed information, they're being fed, right? And so it makes you think the next time I'm scrolling, what am I eating? Like this is my clone tube. This tube, right? This thing right here. When I look in here, right, and I might find myself laughing at somebody else's trauma. Because somebody posted a fight and somebody's getting beat up. Oh, look at that. You know, girls pulling another girl's weave out. We don't know what's going on. We just looking at the sound bite, the clip, and we laughing, and it ain't really funny. You know what I'm saying? It's so we
become addicted to the concept. No, we become addicted to dysfunctionality. Think about how many years we laughed and were entertained and couldn't wait to watch Jerry Springer. I'm just being real. There was nothing on Jerry Springer that would benefit us, nor our children, our families, our communities, our people. He was the first Vlad.
He was the first Vlad TV.
He was the first Vlad TV, and we spent hours with Jerry. We invested in Jerry. Yeah, many of us neglected responsibilities to watch Jerry. That was in school doing Jerry. We didn't do homework. Right. We skipped school.
Right. So, you know, and there's a trick, because I thought about people like Vlad TV, and I think there's another guy, Adam 22. Like you brought up Jerry Springer, you know, white people who make a living. Right. But white people who make a living broadcasting black dysfunction. Not in a healing sense either. You know what I'm saying? But in an entertainment sense. And you have black people talking about real murders, real trauma, real issues, real problems for someone else's entertainment and for their white host pockets, for their benefit.
Yeah.
Who cloned Tyrone? God, I know the movies they cloned Tyrone. I like to say who cloned Tyrone, because there are multiple entities out here cloning the Tyrones. You know what I'm saying? And so man, it's a very, very interesting concept, you know, that we really need to dive into and look at, you know, when it comes to our own healing, our own growth, our own empowerment. Y'all make sure that you like and share the video. You know what I'm saying? Get in on the conversation. I want to do something a little different.
Yeah, brother Agu. Yeah, he made the point that Jerry made millions off
millions.
of
Yeah, to exploit, but he made millions off of
millions.
it.
Man, he, right now, as we speaking, he chilling.
Yeah, I think he dead now though.
Oh, he died. Well, he died.
He
died like last millions.
Yeah, he lived good though. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. And you sending the black folks home that exploited themselves. You send them home broke.
Yeah,
you send them home with nothing.
The same,
they have that mentality.
Think about it. Think about the Tyrone movie. They wake up the next day.
Yeah.
Right back into the same.
Right back into the same time loop. Yeah, right back into the same thing. You know what I'm saying? No healing took place. Right. Yeah. And so we have to look at that repeating cycles, right? Yeah. Repeating cycles. But also because we're talking about fear, y'all, we have to conquer the fear of growth, the fear of the pain that comes along with growth, the fear of the discomfort, right? That come along, you know what I'm saying, with growth, right? Because there's a fear, like we said earlier with the analogy of open the plantation doors. What's on the other side, right? So when you find out you've been cloned, this mentality has been cloned, what's on the other side? Some people gonna say it don't matter, anything better than where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
A lot of us gonna say, I'm gonna get a little mix of this and I'm gonna keep a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Let me raise my hand.
Yeah, there you go. we go
raise my hand. You know what I'm saying?
Piece by piece, you know.
Right.
You know, it's the same mentality on any aspect of ourselves that we're trying to grow. You know, we talked about health, you know, physical health. You know, we trying to get ourselves back in shape. You know, we like, that it's gonna hurt. It's gonna, you know, we thinking about it in a way like we gonna punish ourselves, but really you're not punishing yourself. Right. That's how you prove.
Give up my. Look, we even claiming stuff. Give up my honey bun.
Give my honey bun.
Give up my water.
Yeah, you want me to?
I don't know if I'm give up my cigarettes.
Yeah. I ain't gonna be, you know, like I'm not gonna do my sisters like that, but I have heard this. I'm gonna go by my own experience. I'm not gonna be sweating and you know, I ain't gonna be sweating my hair. You know, I said it like that, but I heard this from my experience, sisters. I ain't trying to be funny. But you know, stuff like that, I ain't gonna be sweating. Oh, you walking and running. Just we look this native context on growth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what do we fear a lot of times? For me, you know, when I came into consciousness and things like that, my fear wasn't of white people. My fear was how the people around me was going to perceive me. Now that I'm thinking different and doing something different, I fear my peer group. You know what I'm saying? You know, how am I gonna be perceived? You know what I'm saying? And then part of me was like, because you're reading about the government following people and killing our leaders. Part of me feared that too. Like, man, I don't want to be assassinated like Dr. King and Malcolm. You know, I don't want to be called an African booty scratcher by my own people and you know what I'm saying? And ridiculed, you know. So all those fears are there. And what the fear does is if you allow it to, it'll block you from remembering where it is you trying to go, your destination. Because you only got into this because you saw something. You said, man, if I go that route, I can end up here.
Yeah. No, that's right. It'll block what you envision. The reason why you even took any steps forward, it blocks the vision on a daily basis. God dang, man, I see myself becoming, but man, it's so hurt. It's, you know, one person said something. 7 people might have said something positive about the way you growing and going, but one person like, you really ain't, you know what I'm saying? You really missing the point, man. You know what I'm saying? And that right there enough to just join people. You know what I'm saying?
You know how many people didn't go with Harriet Tubman because somebody talked some sense into them?
Yeah. We need to talk some sense,
man. We're gonna go that crazy. That woman crazy. They're gonna catch that woman. They're gonna hang that woman. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, so look here, man. Look, Master gave us extra sugar cane last week. You know, I told y'all to pick the cotton in a way that don't hurt your back. Man, you know, we got it good.
Ooh, the negotiation. The negotiation with assimilation. So I think that was a big part of Tyrone too. The way we perceive assimilation as something that's comfortable enough for us not to pursue our full liberation. Right. Yeah. So it becomes comfortable enough for us to say, you know what, even when you envision it, you can negotiate with yourself and say, well, you know, this ain't just, you know, it ain't just bad, you know what I'm saying? My kids good, you know, but you know, I can, you know what I'm saying? We can ride like this. You know,
and I heard white folks is coming around, and that there's some white folks out there that don't want slavery. We just need to wait.
Yeah. Yes, and that's exactly the image. And think about the messages, the political images, and the election cycles of the people that stand before us and say, "No, we're going to help you. We're going to. We have programs in place, and you know, initiatives and executive orders coming out called the Black Freedom Initiative for Economic, liberation. You know, all you know. So all these different. These are the negotiations and the inputs that come in to help us to negotiate." Our liberation, right? And create a fear. Like, so we have this notion that, you know, and we get to the politics side, the Republicans have this coercive fear, right? But we think about Democrats as, you know, these are the people they're right there with us. You know, these white Democrats are right there with us. They are, you know, caught us along, but they're utilizing a more, passive fear, more, you know what I'm saying? Passive aggressive fear.
Passive aggressive, very passive, but also very aggressive.
Very aggressive, yeah.
It becomes aggressive when you ask questions.
Yes, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because when they say, you know, because they come to you like, you know, like Biden say, you don't vote for me, you're not black. Like, of course you black, you gotta vote Democrat, right? But then when you start saying, well, you said you're gonna do this and you said you're gonna do that, okay, what do you think they're gonna do?
There you go.
There's the fear. If you don't vote for us, what you think Trump and them gonna do? We gotta do whatever we can to keep Trump out of office. Well, that now you feel bad for even asking for something specific for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and you fear the other side so much.
Yeah.
You know, that's not we don't have no other choice.
Yeah. That's the Ku Klux Klan, you know, extreme that's used. You know what I'm saying? Well, we the ones that would persuaded the Ku Klux Klan not to continue to attack you. So, so you think about that extreme. You're like, okay, we don't have we're not gonna have the extreme coming at us. So maybe in the middle we can be all right. Because I think one of the lines I wrote down, one of the lines in the movie said, "Assimilation is better than annihilation." So to assimilate, you know, which puts us in the middle. It kind of takes away our maximized actualization as a people, but it puts us kind of in the mix, you know, it's just kind of waiting and flowing into society, but not doing too much, you know. But
assimilation calls for obedience.
Yes, it calls for obedience. It calls for compromises.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's beyond compromise. It calls for absolute change.
Like
to assimilate, you have to ignore whole aspects of self in order to assimilate into another culture. When you assimilate into Christianity, right, that means you have to leave your ancestor spirituality that's non-Christian behind. Not only do you have to leave it behind, you got to denounce it. And if you practice it, you got to do it in secret and in private. Assimilation calls for complete obedience, and it's a constant state of fear. A constant state of fear of being found out that you really hood, of being found out, you know what I'm saying, that you're not as white. They know you're not white. They know you're not one of them. But we walk in them spaces and, hey, Jim, they know you don't talk like that.
Yeah. So, because the deep and some deeper parts of this, and we're gonna get into this more next week, is that, you know, because when I'm trying to talk like a different person, I'm trying to appear as a different person, I'm changing DNA. Like I'm not that it's happening, but I'm expressing this concept of changing what's inside of me, my DNA, my very makeup, my biology. You know what I'm saying? All my physiology is shifting to assimilate, right? But believing that doing that will prevent us from being, annihilated physically, right? Like our children, we think it's protection. There we go. So we believe it's a concept of full protection of the people that we love, right? That only fear can get you to believe that, right? Believe that you're not really actualizing who you were created to be, right? And believing that means that you're protecting those you love. Only fear can get you to believe that.
In other words, we're fearing one form of death so much that we're accepting another form.
Wow. And that's deep, man.
We've been taught to fear the physical death so much that we're walking right into spiritual death, mental death. Right. We you know what I'm saying? And so because we have such an unhealthy fear of physical death, something that's inevitable anyway.
You're
going to die physically anyway.
Yeah.
Period.
The very people who have subscribed to this assimilation mentality, they have faced death and continue to face death. So, you know, that's out of my, you know what I'm saying? That from a spirit, that's out of my control. Right.
I'm gonna play a quick scene.
Yes.
I'm playing a church scene, man. The great David Allen Greer, man. This dude, you know, in Living Color, this dude is so talented and such a master at his craft. I read an article that said he freestyled this whole scene in one take.
I believe that. That's a very talented brother.
Yeah, but they're in the church and he's preaching about obedience.
Everywhere. Keeping watch over the wicked and the good, but also the wicked. And do you know what he wants most out of each and every one of you?
What he wants?
Say it with me if you will. I know you know it. Obedience.
They give Jim Jones a run for his money.
You got the Kool-Aid part down too.
Cause it don't matter how bad your life is. It don't matter how to get a victory. It don't matter. You got a light bill due. It don't matter. And you got a gas bill too. It don't. Your grandson Jamal was gunned down in a drive-by shooting right next to the Derrick in his vision, trust. Say it with me, trust. Trust.
I ain't been to church in a while. Something is up.
Man. Yeah.
Something is up.
But something is up. Man, that's deep, man.
Trust. It don't matter how bad your life is. But it does matter how bad your life is. Right? It don't matter that your grandson Jamal got gunned down in front of the Dairy Queen. God got a plan. You just got to trust. But who are you really trusting?
Yes, that's the question. Who are you trusting?
And who are you really showing obedience to?
Yep. Those are the questions that have to be. See, that's when critical thinking comes in, right? Because every term that you use, right, when you thinking critically, okay, who are you talking about? Who am I obedient to? I need to know.
Right.
Because if I say you need to be obedient, right? If I just come, if I'm a stranger and I say you need to be obedient, okay, to who? Who and what? And what is, you know what I'm saying? What are the instructions? What are, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
What is the plan? Right? What is the plan? What is the instructions? Who am I trusting? And what do you mean by trust? Right? Because trust has levels, right?
Yeah. Just like a slave being obedient, man. You got to trust that God has a divine plan. That's all he's doing is taking the power out of your hands. That's it. Don't fight back. Wait for God. How does God benefit from you waiting on him or her?
Ooh. Those are things we got to think. How do you declare that you are, even from a Christian standpoint, how do we declare that we love God, right? If we are waiting on God to take action on earth.
But they didn't wait on God to enslave you. They didn't wait for God for colonialism.
Yeah.
They didn't wait to God to try to fly to the moon. You know, but you have to wait for God just to get a public swimming pool in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Fight the algorithm, y'all. He said,
Fight.
Trust. And we trust, don't we?
Trust.
Not us, but we trust.
Yeah.
We trust.
Trying to get that stop sign on that street for 30 years.
Yeah. We trust.
Somebody ran through the intersection and hit a little girl and killed her. Trust.
Yeah, we trust. We don't get active. We trust. And I think a big part of the algorithm that we have to fight, is that part that make us trust our enemies blindly. Yep. Trust those who exploit us blindly. I remember they used to make a joke, when we go to the Chinese restaurant, you don't know what kind of meat that is. Look how they chop that meat up. That might be dog meat. That might be cat meat.
Yeah.
And it be in the buffet.
Yeah.
And people, them people ain't did that. How you know them people ain't did that?
Yeah, they wouldn't do that.
How you know they wouldn't do that?
Yeah. You start assigning morality to people that you've been programmed to see, to envision as moral people.
Yeah.
But because we've been programmed to see ourselves as immoral, right, as less than, we don't have that same narrative for ourselves.
No, because even in their Cloned Tyrone, black folks didn't have no problem harming each other.
Yeah.
The way they talk to each other in that movie is abysmal. I almost cringed. I couldn't even get to the plot twist. The way they was talking to the sister that was the prostitute. It just reflects on how in this algorithm that we're in, all the skepticism, all the courage, all the bravery seems to be directed towards our conflict with each other. And I'm not just talking about black on black physical violence. I'm talking spiritual violence, mental violence, emotional violence. I'm talking about the violence of just not trusting a black-owned business because it's a black-owned business. That's violence.
Yeah. Without knowing anything about it, you just immediately, it got to be something.
They reusing that grease back there. And, soon as something go wrong, you say the N-word. N-word.
Yeah, this is a nigga bit. But the crazy thing about it, and I say this all the time. I didn't get to watch people. But when people have a bad experience at a Walmart, at a Chili's, at a, you know what I'm saying, they don't say white owned business, right? They call it by its name, right?
Right.
A bad experience.
Not only they call it by its name, we get specific.
Yeah. Yeah.
That Walmart, the one on East Chase.
Yeah, the one on East Chase.
They ain't gonna say all Walmarts. Man, that Walmart on East Chase be tripping.
Yeah.
But with us, we tend to generalize because that's built into the algorithm, though. Yeah. That's built into the miseducation. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we have to fight, y'all. Yeah. So shout out to Yell at Night for coming in and sharing the links and everything. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to that, man. That, you know what I'm saying? Because that's how we fight the algorithm, y'all.
Absolutely.
We got to spread the word.
We got to. Yeah.
Got to spread the word.
Only fear. And that's the way I think about it as we wrap up, man. Yeah. That for a naturally brilliant, genius people, right? Only fear and this concept of dysfunction that we're talking about being cloned, this characterizing mentality, this programming can shift our mindset in a way that we thought that we're thinking like this. Only fear can do that. Only something that is happening unnaturally to us can do this. We are naturally brilliant. We are naturally genius. So to not be able to recognize that our mindset towards ourselves is counterintuitive to how we look at other people, for us not to recognize that in real time consistently and be aware of it and make decisions to counter that mind process, that means for us that we are operating in fear. We are operating under a program. We're operating as clones. That's what we gotta stop and be like, okay, hold on. Why am I thinking like this?
Right. Great job, man. Great stuff. Absolutely. And so what are we doing about it, man? One of the things that we're doing about it is the Uhuru Academy. Uhuru Academy is an independent African-centered institution of learning. We have a K through 12 online private school that is now enrolling. We have an adult education program called Operation Reconnect that's now enrolling as well. Visit uhuruacademy.com. We're also training, man. Great. We did a great training last week in Texas, and great job there training teachers on how to inject vision development in the classroom so to help them empower their students to fight these algorithms. You know what I'm saying? And so definitely go and support the Uhuru Academy. You also want to go to pipelineofpower.com and support Pipeline of Power. Take the Pipeline of Power pledge. Become a pipeline builder right now. Go over there, you know what I'm saying, and take the pledge, and
algorithm, man. Let's break this clone mentality.
Let's break this clone.
We build it. Hey, let's build our most powerful sales.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's why, even in doing our podcast, and as we develop it, and we're going to have more guests on the show and diversify what we do. And I'm looking for some unique things to do and some unique ideas, you know what I'm saying, to put on our podcast. I even want how we podcast to fight the algorithm. You know what I'm saying? And so man, y'all make sure you support us, give us your ideas. If you would like to come on Fight the Algorithm and talk to us about how you're fighting the algorithm. We love to have you on. I know Gail at Night is not only a great YouTuber, but she's in cybersecurity, and Black women in STEM are fighting the algorithm, and she's for her people. You got Supreme, shout out to Prince.
Yeah, I saw the Rich Ross site.
You know what I'm saying? In the house, he in the trenches in the hood fighting the algorithm. My brother Agu, make sure you put your links to your business in the chat. He out here fighting the algorithm. I want to give a special shout out to my wife in Koyo Ojuwo. We call her the Uhuru Mama. She is a midwife, and this past week I watched my wife coach one hospital birth, at the beginning of the week, right? And then at the end of the week, she delivered a baby right here on the land.
Man, come on.
You know what I'm saying? And to watch her do her thing and move in her element, you talking about somebody who's fighting the algorithm when it comes to birthing Black women, Black children, and birthing our children in a healthy way. And Koyo's on the front line, and I couldn't be prouder of her. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I can't let you go. I got to show
yeah,
love.
You're right. You know
what? You ain't gonna do it like that. I got to show love to my queen, Mama Kamaria Kenya. Listen, powerful warrior queen, man. She is definitely fighting the algorithm, man, as she get prepared to travel back to New Haven, Connecticut, man, to finish her doctorate, man, in the history of science and medicine, African American studies. She is a expert in the field of disability equity and studies, really fighting the algorithm of how people perceive Black people with disabilities, man, and truly shedding more light, understanding on accessibility and how really maximizing the power and potential of people that are perceived as being disabled, but really the ability is on another level, and she's proven that day in and day out, man.
Man, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Kamari go hard in the paint.
Man,
yeah, so we got to pick up the queens. They are definitely fighting the algorithm. You know what I'm saying? Kamari from Stop 6 all the way to Yale. I mean, what?
Yeah.
And so phenomenal work. Hey, y'all, we appreciate y'all tuning in tonight. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna come back next week. We're gonna talk a little bit more about it. We're gonna bring in some special guests next week too, y'all. Y'all just be ready. You know what I'm saying? Be ready. Yeah, we gotta fight this algorithm.
We gotta fight every day.
We gotta
inside of us, outside of us. Yeah.
That's right. And we gotta write our own algorithm.
Yeah.
And we can't be scared to do it. You gotta conquer that fear. Right? You got to conquer that fear, of what's outside the plantation gates. Freedom is outside those gates, but that don't mean freedom ain't right outside the gate. You're going to have to run through some obstacles to get there.
Man, you're going to even run through more obstacles once you recognize that it's there.
You know what I'm talking about? You got to create some distance between you and where you was at.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
let's be about that work, y'all.
Yeah.
Let's be about that work. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I'm Baba Mean.
Man, Dr. Juichi Bomani, let's go get it, man. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. a zao to everybody that rolled with us and rolled with us tonight. We back next week. We digging even deeply into it, and we're gonna keep fighting in between. Let's go get it.
Fight the algorithm. Be on the lookout for that Fight the Algorithm merch coming soon.
Yeah.